This is my 1999 Series 3 VS Ute. Now make no mistake, this is the worst car that I own. This is the outlier in the shed. This Ute has 500,000 Ks and it is, look at it, it is disgusting. You might be thinking, Deacon, why do you have this here? Is it a 5 litre? Is it manual? Is it rare? No, it's not. It's a V6 Auto VS Ute. The reason this is actually here is I had this for about 18 months when I was on my Ps and onto my full license. I have a lot of memories in this car. 2 years and 80,000 Ks or whatever it was of ownership. The only thing that went wrong with it was an alternator. $20 later from the wreckers, fixed. This was such a good Ute. So I bought this car for $2,000 back in 2018 maybe, and I sold it for $1,000 about 18 months later. And I bought it back for $2,800 in a much worse condition than I sold it. Overall, it's still not bad for a VS Ute. There aren't actually that many dents and scratches, and really with a tidy up, which I'll do in this video, we'll see how good we can get it. Yes, it does run and drive. No, it is not registered, but it's living in this shed and the cat likes to jump on it. Now, one thing it doesn't have is a big dent in the tailgate, which is actually quite rare. It does have a tub liner. That is disgusting. But overall, there is no major damage. Now, this car is disgusting, as you can see it. I have actually not washed it since I sold this car. You might be thinking, Deacon, how did you buy it back? Well, so I bought it on the other side of Melbourne, and I actually sold it on the other side of Melbourne as well. I probably sold this around 2 hours away from where I live. And then one day I was driving around in the VN and I saw this car just in my peripheral vision. I thought, that is my old Ute. Anyway, I do a U-turn and I go park behind it, and I waited there for probably 45 minutes for the owner to come out. I got out of my car and I spoke to him. And I said, mate, that is my old Ute. I showed him some photos on my phone that I'd gotten ready. I said, please, if you ever sell it, let me know. Here's my phone number. And fortunately, the bloke that had owned it had actually cared for it. He's an older bloke. It's not been doing burnouts. It's got dead flat quarters here. It has done a lot of Ks, but it's an honest Ute. I also sold this with about 380,000 kilometers, and I bought it back with 143. The interior in this car is where things start to fall apart. It's just rough as guts in here. The steering wheel is actually quite good. At one point in its life, it has had a dash conversion out of a VS Statesman. That wasn't me, that was like it when I bought it, and that was the thing to do back in the day. While the interior is complete, it's not great. This car has been the definition of on the back burner. I don't think I've done anything with it since I bought it. I've literally bought it and parked it. Don't know really what I'm going to do with it. I don't really want a 5 litre. I'm currently building an L67 that'll be going into my other VS, which has a quarter of the kilometers of this one and is in much better condition. But this one, really don't know what I'm going to do with it. Saying that though, the headlining is absolutely fantastic. When I had this on my Ps, I had a subwoofer in the passenger side footwell. You might even be able to see the outline just there. There was very little room behind the seats in here, so that's where it went. Now, when I had the car, it did not have this canopy. It had a tarp on it. I actually really like the canopy. I think it looks really good. So I'm going to be keeping that. I think it really adds character to the car. Now, the engine bay is surprisingly tidy for a car of this many kilometers. You might have noticed that the serpentine belt has just about had it. This motor is tired. It's done 500,000 kilometers. Yes, it still runs. It doesn't knock or anything, but it's got nowhere near the go that my other cars do. And this Ute needs a ton of work underneath. Driving this compared to my other VS wagon, which has had 2 roadworthies and it's just mint, this drives like a totally different car. This needs a lot of time and money spent on it. Believe it or not, this car is actually eligible for club registration in February. I was planning to get it on the road, but I've got quite a lot of other projects going on, and the amount of time that is going to be needed to do this, I just don't have at the moment. What are my plans for this car? I don't really know. I don't want to sell it. I don't want to get rid of it. I don't need to sell it. Kind of want to put a standard VS dash back in it. I've got a bench seat for a VS Ute over there to have it a 3-seater, but I really don't know. Really don't know what I'm going to do with this thing. It's definitely got sentimental value. It's way too good to wreck. Could be good as a work Ute or something. Yeah, really not sure. Give the old VS a wash. Now I'm not going to go too crazy here, just a mitt and a bucket. This Ute's paint's not perfect. I'm just going to go straight on dry. After working at Autobarn for years, this is my favourite, the Nanolicious wash. I'm going to mix up just a cap and a little bit. And this is my spare mitt. This is not my good one, so we're not going to worry about the mitt. The Ute is at the point where we're not really worrying about the paint. I'm actually really happy with how it's come up. It does look better on camera than it does in person, but yeah, it's a good car, and I'm glad I have it. I don't really know what I'm going to do with it. If you guys have any ideas, a lot of you guys might have seen that I'm building an L67 for my VS. It's not for this one. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with this car, so if you guys have any ideas. The way I like my cars is original plus 10%, so not really too sure what I'm going to do with it. It probably will just be parked up and go on the back burner. Normally I start my cars up and give them a run for these videos. Not going to be doing that here. It's just a stock Ecotec. I'm sure you've seen them 1,000 times. And I can't drive it because it's unregistered. Not only that, it needs a huge going over under the car. So maybe in a future project, once I'm getting this ready for club plates, I will film me roadworthying the car. I'll do it properly and replace just about everything, rear mounted seal and all underneath the car, just like I have with everything else. If this kind of content about these kind of cars is something that you're interested in, feel free to subscribe and follow along and see what I do with all these cars.